Before I start the story, I want to tell you to subscribe, because only 1% are subscribers, and at 1,000 subscribers I will post a special video. In the year 2472, Earth had become a bustling hub of interstellar commerce and diplomacy, part of a vast network of civilized planets. The United Earth Coalition served as the governing body, balancing Earth's interests with those of its extraterrestrial allies. However, peace was often a delicate veneer, masking tensions and hidden agendas. On a seemingly ordinary day, the cityscape of New Chicago was pierced by a rare and unexpected event. A sleek, otherworldly spacecraft, unlike any seen before, plummeted through the atmosphere in an uncontrolled descent. The ship crash-landed in the Central Plaza, a place teeming with people and digital advertisements, creating chaos and panic. Emergency services rushed to the scene, and so did a curious and somewhat reckless young human named Alex Wren. Alex, an engineer in aerospace technology, was on his way to work when the ship crashed. Driven by a mix of concern and fascination, he pushed through the crowd, which was instinctively retreating from the potential danger. As the dust settled, the ship's hatch blew open with a hiss of escaping pressure. From inside, staggered out a figure so captivating and unusual that it silenced the murmurs of the onlookers. She was clearly not human. Her skin shimmered with a luminescent quality, reflecting the sunlight in iridescent waves. Her eyes, large and expressive, scanned the crowd with a mix of fear and defiance. She spoke in a language no one understood, her voice melodic yet urgent. The translation devices worn by the emergency personnel started working feverishly, trying to decode the alien language. Alex, whose translator was always tuned to pick up less common dialects due to his work, was the first to understand her. "Please help me. I am Princess Seraphine of the Valerian Royal Court. I am in danger." Her translated plea echoed through the device. The crowd murmured, but no one moved. The fear of interstellar politics and the potential repercussions of aiding an alien royal were too great, all except for Alex, whose heart raced not just with the thrill of discovery, but with an innate desire to help. "Why won't anyone help her?" Alex muttered to himself as he stepped forward, approaching the princess with cautious steps. Princess Seraphine looked at him, her gaze intense and searching. "You understand me?" she asked, her voice now a whisper. "Yes, I can understand you. What happened? Why are you here?" Alex replied, keeping his voice steady despite the surreal nature of the conversation. "I am fleeing from a coup. My brother seeks to take the throne by force, and his allies are not just within our world but spread across the galaxy. They have powerful enemies here on Earth too. I had no choice but to flee," she explained, her eyes darting around, expecting danger at any moment. Alex looked back at the crowd, still no volunteers to assist. It was up to him. "Come with me. I can help you. I know people who might be able to protect you." With a nod of trust, Princess Seraphine took a tentative step toward Alex. Together they moved away from the crash site, heading towards a place Alex knew as a sanctuary for the unexpected and the unwelcome. As they disappeared into the network of busy streets and overpasses that marked New Chicago, Alex knew that his life was about to change forever. Not only had he saved a princess, but he had also stepped into a galactic intrigue that could threaten the very fabric of interstellar peace. Their journey had just begun, and there was no turning back. Alex led Princess Seraphine through the labyrinth of New Chicago's underground passages, a part of the city seldom seen by the average citizen, but familiar to him due to his explorative nature. The subterranean world was a stark contrast to the sleek skyscrapers above, filled with pipes, flickering lights, and the hum of machinery. "I know a place here where we can hide and talk safely," Alex said, glancing back to ensure Seraphine was keeping up. Her elegant yet functional attire seemed out of place in the grimy environment, but her determination was clear. They arrived at a small, secluded workshop that Alex used as a personal project space. Tools and parts of various machines were scattered around, reflecting his passion for tinkering. He secured the door and activated a device that scrambled surveillance signals. "Okay, we should be off the grid here," Alex announced, turning to Seraphine. "Now tell me everything. Who are your brother's allies on Earth?" Seraphine took a deep breath, her face shadowed by concern. They are not just allies. They are mercenaries and traders in secrets. My brother, Prince Dorian, has promised them access to Valerian technologies and resources in exchange for their support. Alex nodded, absorbing the gravity of the situation. And what do you want from Earth, or from me, specifically? I need asylum and allies. I must gather support to reclaim my throne and prevent Dorian from plunging our world into chaos, she stated resolutely. Alex leaned against a workbench, his mind racing. Helping Seraphine could embroil him in a dangerous political conflict, but her plight resonated with him. He had always believed in doing what was right, regardless of the risk. I'm not sure how much I can do by myself, but I have contacts in the coalition who might be willing to help, Alex mused aloud. But we'll need solid proof of your brother's plans and his dealings here. That I can provide, Seraphine assured him, her eyes glinting with a mix of hope and fear. She retrieved a small, intricately designed device from her pocket. This contains recordings, communications, everything. It's encrypted, but I trust you can handle that? Grinning, Alex took the device. Encryption is child's play, he joked, setting up his equipment to interface with the alien technology. As he worked, Seraphine watched intently, her gaze occasionally drifting to the myriad tools and gadgets around the room. You Earthlings are quite resourceful, she remarked, a faint smile breaking through her solemn demeanor. Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, Alex replied, focused on his task. Got it, he exclaimed a moment later. The device's contents began to display on his screens, revealing detailed plans and communications between Dorian and his Earth-based allies. We need to get this to the Coalition, but carefully, Alex said. They'll want to act, but we have to ensure they do it the right way, without causing a diplomatic meltdown. Seraphine nodded, standing shoulder to shoulder with Alex as they reviewed the data. Together then, she said, her voice firm. We'll expose my brother's treachery and restore balance to Valeria. As they delved deeper into the plans and plotted their next moves, the makeshift workshop became a war room for a battle they were only just beginning to understand. The stakes were galactic, but so were the potential rewards. Peace for her planet, and for Alex, a chance to make a difference far beyond the confines of his earth-bound existence. In the dim light of the workshop, Alex and Seraphine pored over the encrypted data, uncovering layers of intrigue that extended through multiple systems. The evidence was damning, detailing not only Prince Dorian's promises to Earth's shadowy factions, but also his plans to exploit Valerian technology for military dominance. Look at this, Alex pointed to a series of communications between Dorian and a clandestine group known only as the Syndicate. He's been planning this for years, leveraging Valerian tech to gain tactical advantages. If he succeeds, it's not just your planet at risk. It could destabilize this whole sector. Seraphine's expression hardened as she read through the details. We must act swiftly. My brother is cunning and ruthless. The longer we wait, the more entrenched his power becomes. Knowing they needed more than just data, Alex contacted a trusted ally within the United Earth Coalition, Director Lena Morris. Lena had a reputation for her straightforward approach and her commitment to interstellar justice. She agreed to meet them in a secure location, away from the prying eyes of potential spies. At the meeting, Lena listened intently as Alex and Seraphine presented the evidence. Her brow furrowed, she considered the ramifications. This goes deeper than a simple power grab, Lena observed. If Dorian aligns with the Syndicate, he could effectively control trade routes and technology exchanges across the sector. Lena devised a plan to leverage the Coalition's resources without alerting Dorian's spies. We need to convene an emergency session with the Interstellar Council. However, we'll use this meeting as a decoy while we gather more support for your cause, Princess Seraphine. As part of the strategy, Seraphine would make a formal plea for asylum and protection under the guise of seeking trade negotiations. This would provide a legitimate platform for her to bring her case forward, while also testing the loyalties of various council members. Meanwhile, Alex took on the role of deciphering more of the encrypted files, hoping to find concrete proof of the Syndicate's involvement on Earth. His efforts led him to discover a hidden network of communications between the mercenaries and several high-profile Earth officials who were unwittingly entangled in Dorian schemes. Using this information, Lena arranged covert surveillance operations on these officials, aiming to expose their illegal activities without tipping off Dorian or his allies. The stakes were high, as any misstep could lead to a diplomatic disaster, or worse, an interstellar conflict. In the relative safety of Lena's office, they worked tirelessly, coordinating with coalition agents and ensuring that every move was calculated with precision. Alex admired Seraphine's determination and her ability to stay composed under pressure, qualities that reassured him they were on the right path. As the date of the council meeting approached, tension mounted. They knew that their actions could either pave the way for peace or plunge their worlds into turmoil. Each piece of evidence they gathered added weight to their cause, but also increased the danger they faced. As they finalized their preparations, Alex looked at Seraphine, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. They were no longer just allies. They were comrades in a fight for the future of her planet and the safety of his. With every step they took, they wove themselves deeper into the fabric of an interstellar drama that was far from over. The Grand Hall of the Interstellar Council was a marvel of architecture, blending styles from numerous worlds into a cohesive testament to unity and diversity. As the emergency session convened, representatives from dozens of planetary systems filled the chamber, their conversations a low murmur under the high arched ceilings adorned with symbols of peace and cooperation. In the midst of this assembly, Alex and Seraphine, accompanied by Director Lena, took their positions. Alex felt the weight of countless eyes on them, each delegate a potential ally or adversary. Seraphine stood with regal composure, her presence commanding attention despite the undercurrents of tension. Lena initiated the proceedings with a carefully worded speech, outlining the purpose of the session as a discussion on trade and diplomatic relations. However, the true intent was hidden between the lines, accessible only to those involved in the covert operation. As the session progressed, Alex monitored the communications network he had set up with Lena's technical team. Real-time analyses and alerts would help them identify any shifts in alliance or unexpected moves from their adversaries. Seraphine took the floor, her voice clear and resonant. "Esteemed delegates, I stand before you not just as a princess of Valeria, but as a seeker of justice and protector of our shared values. Today, I seek your counsel and your support." Her speech, while framed around the need for stable trade relations, subtly emphasized the dangers of unregulated power and the misuse of technology. The response from the council was mixed. Some representatives nodded in agreement, their faces marked by concern, while others exchanged guarded glances, their motives obscured by diplomatic neutrality. In the midst of these deliberations, an urgent message flickered on Alex's device, a signal that one of the Earth officials under surveillance was attempting to communicate with a known associate of the syndicate. "Lena, we have movement," Alex whispered, passing her the information discreetly. Lena excused herself, stepping out to coordinate with coalition security forces. The trap was set, and now it was a matter of timing and precision. Meanwhile, Seraphine continued to weave her narrative, each word chosen to sway the council without revealing the full extent of her brother's betrayal. She presented a vision of a unified approach to technology sharing and governance, a veiled plea for allies against her brother's tyrannical plans. As the session drew to a close, the delegates agreed to a private summit, a smaller meeting where the true discussion could take place away from possible leaks and spies. It was a victory, albeit a small one, and a testament to Seraphine's diplomatic acumen. Back in Lena's office, the trio reviewed the day's events. "We've managed to secure a foothold, but it's just the beginning," Lena stated, her eyes on the screens displaying the movements of the surveilled officials. "Yes, but now we bring the battle closer to the shadows," Seraphine said, determination in her voice. "We must be ready for what my brother will do next. He will not sit idly by." Alex nodded, his role as a liaison now more crucial than ever. He would need to continue decoding the encrypted files and strengthen their defenses against any retaliatory measures from Dorian or the Syndicate. as the sun set over the Coalition headquarters, casting long shadows across the room. The fight for Valeria's throne intensified, hidden from public view, but no less fierce. Alex, Seraphine, and Lena were now enmeshed in a game of interstellar intrigue, where every move could tip the scales of power. The secure summit room was shrouded in confidentiality, a stark contrast to the ornate public chambers of the Interstellar Council. Here, within these walls, the real politic of the galaxy unfolded, a dance of diplomacy and hidden agendas. Seraphine, Alex, and Lena sat among a circle of delegates whose support was crucial to their cause. The air was thick with tension and the weight of impending decisions. Seraphine presented the encrypted evidence Alex had decrypted, showcasing clear links between Prince Dorian and the Syndicate. The documents were damning: financial transfers, covert meetings, and promises of shared power. As the screen flickered with intercepted messages and holographic displays of secret deals, the room's atmosphere tightened. A delegate from a system allied with Valeria through commerce and defense pacts spoke up, his voice a deep rumble. "These are serious accusations, Princess. What you suggest would mean a significant upheaval in our current relations." "Exactly," Seraphine responded, her gaze unwavering. "What I suggest is not just an upheaval, but a necessary action to prevent a galactic crisis. My brother's ambition does not stop at our borders. His greed will extend to your systems as well." Lena interjected, her tone diplomatic yet firm. "We have corroborated the princess's evidence with our intelligence. The threat is real and immediate. The question now is not about potential upheaval, but about our collective response to a clear and present danger." The discussions that followed were intense, each delegate weighing the cost of action against the peril of inaction. Alex observed quietly, his role more passive in these deliberations, but his mind was racing, anticipating the multiple outcomes and their ramifications. Meanwhile, Lena received real-time updates from her security team. The crackdown on Earth was beginning to bear fruit. Several of Dorian's contacts had been detained, disrupting the network enough to cause confusion and delay any immediate countermeasures from the Syndicate. As the summit neared its conclusion, the delegates reached a tentative agreement to form a coalition force to intervene in Valeria, provided that further proof could be secured to justify their involvement publicly. They tasked Seraphine with gathering more direct evidence of her brother's treachery, particularly any that could be tied directly to threats against other planets. After the meeting, back in their temporary command center, the trio discussed their next moves. "We'll need to infiltrate Dorian's inner circle," Alex suggested, his expertise in technology presenting a viable pathway. "I can set up surveillance drones and hacking protocols to intercept more communications directly from his headquarters." Seraphine nodded, her expression resolute. "I will return to Valeria under the guise of negotiating a truce. It will put me in danger, but it will also give us the chance to catch Dorian off guard." Lena agreed, arranging for additional resources to be made available to Alex and Seraphine. "We'll have a team ready to extract you at a moment's notice, Seraphine. Alex, ensure our communication lines are secure. We cannot afford any leaks or missteps now." As plans were set into motion, the risks and stakes became ever clearer. They were not just battling for the throne of Valeria, but fighting to prevent a dominion of deceit that could enslave multiple worlds. Each member of their small but determined group felt the pressure of their impending actions, knowing that their success or failure would echo through the stars. Seraphine's return to Valeria was fraught with peril. The planet, once a beacon of cultural and technological advances, now mirrored the tensions of its royal palace, divided and on the brink of civil strife. Under heavy disguise, Seraphine entered the royal city, her heart steeled against the coming trials. Back on Earth, Alex prepared his suite of digital espionage tools. Each drone and sensor was fine-tuned for stealth and efficiency, designed not to leave a trace. He monitored everything from a secure location, his screens lit with feeds and data streams that provided a real-time look into the heart of Dorian's regime. As Seraphine infiltrated the palace, she reconnected with loyalists who had been forced into hiding after her departure. Together, they orchestrated a series of diversions, spreading misinformation that hinted at an impending attack from external forces. This sowed further confusion among Dorian's ranks, drawing his forces thin and redirecting his attention away from Seraphine's true movements. Meanwhile, Lena coordinated with Allied forces, positioning them just outside of Valerian airspace. They were ready to act on her command, waiting for the signal that would launch a full-scale intervention. Every moment was critical, and the global stakes silenced the room, every officer and technician holding their breath as the operation unfolded. The turning point came when Alex, through his sophisticated network, intercepted a communication between Dorian and the leader of the syndicate. The message was explicit, detailing a planned execution of high-ranking officials loyal to Seraphine, set to occur within hours. Alex relayed this information to Lena, who in turn used it to gain final approval from the hesitant members of the Interstellar Council. With the Council's backing, Lena gave the order. The Allied forces moved into Valerian airspace, their approach masked by the chaos on the ground. As they advanced, Alex hacked into the planet's communication satellites, broadcasting the intercepted message across all channels. The revelation of Dorian's plot caused uproar among the populace and his own forces, many of whom had been kept in the dark about his true intentions. In the palace, as Dorian convened his inner circle to address the crisis, Seraphine and her loyalists made their move. They stormed the meeting, capturing Dorian and his closest advisors before they could escape. With the palace secured and the evidence of his treachery public, Dorian's remaining supporters quickly surrendered. The intervention of the Allied forces was barely needed by the time they arrived, their presence serving more as a stabilizing force than an invading army. Seraphine addressed her people, her speech broadcast across the planet and to the Council, promising reform and a renewed commitment to peace and justice. In the aftermath, as Valeria began the process of rebuilding, Seraphine's rule was solidified with the support of her people and the backing of the Interstellar Council. She implemented new policies that ensured greater transparency and cooperation with neighboring systems, turning her near-tragic story into one of triumph. Alex returned to Earth, his role in the events a quiet but powerful testament to the impact one individual can have in the galaxy. He continued his work with Lena, who had been commended for her decisive leadership, ensuring that such a crisis would be less likely to arise in the future. As peace settled over Valeria, the echoes of the conspiracy faded into history, remembered not for the darkness it brought, but for the light that followed. The galaxy watched and learned the tale of the alien princess and the human who dared to help reshaping interstellar relations in ways they had never imagined.